Hey everyone, it is Hyper and I'm back with another update on the Wild Hunters, and today we are going to be taking a look at the newborns, and we got a glimpse at the newborns in this tweet from Thomas Lab yesterday at the time of recording this video, and that is where he said cute little things, and we get some text in one of those descriptions and potentially lore drops accompanying this photo of what appear to be these newborns, and I think adorable would have been I guess a misnomer for these things because they are something, but it's definitely not adorable. So let's take a look at what he has to say. Now in the text it says, "The newborns are fast and nimble like little spiders. They can crawl walls and hang from ceilings. They are almost blind, wide eyes, the sight hasn't been developed yet, and rely mostly on smell and hearing. They are in a telepathic connection with the mother. The link is very strong and they obey the queen, even behave like they see through her eyes. Their body is fully white, with a visibly shown skeleton. The forehead is slightly bigger than the rest. They have some hair growing from the top of the head over the spine down to the undeveloped tail, sticking like a crest, and are fully covered with dirt or mud. They have small, undeveloped tails that eventually fall off as they grow. Their hands have 5 fingers, but only 3 of them are fully developed and look more like claws to help them climb walls or attach to things. Their mouths can open in a circular fashion, so that they can attach to almost anything and suck out blood, meat, similar how leeches would do. They grow really fast and can reach adulthood in 1 month. At that point, they leave the queen and move to the surface. Their legs are a bit shorter than the arms and set to a side to help them move faster on all fours. The legs start to develop more after a few weeks as they start to stand up straight and walk on them more often. Their main diet is meat. They can smell blood and are attracted to it like piranhas. That's why hunters prefer living prey hung over the ceilings and cut them to bleed over the eggs to trigger the hatching and binge eating. They rarely leave the hatching chambers before reaching maturity. The newborns are capable of jumping a few meters, or even a jump from wall to wall. Once they are fixed on a target, their feeding instincts kick in, and they just charge until they grab the victims and start sucking the life out of them. It's not uncommon for the queen to use them as a defense shield, guiding their attacks towards the intruders while making the intruders temporarily blind with supersonic screams that feel like stun grenades, but also serve as a call for help to all members of the hive." Man, that is crazy. I'm going to call out a few things really quick here. Again, like I said before, I'm not a huge fan, and in fact, I'm not really a fan at all of the telepathic connection with the mother. I think that's kind of a bit, I don't know, it's just kind of like a cliche, like these things that live in a hive type thing. Oh, they're telepathically controlled and this and that, you know. It's cool, but I think it's overused, and I don't think it really fits with how realistic Scum has been so far. I mean, I love the Wild Hunters and their genetic modifications and stuff, but they just lose me on the telepathy part. And I guess, what was the other thing I was looking at? Yeah, the supersonic screams, man. I think that's another part where they lose me. I mean, it's cool. The whole thing of them, like, attacking and, like, being, like, piranhas and being spider-like and stuff. It's really creepy. It's really awesome. They look badass. But again, like, just to get the negativity out of the way at the start is, like, the supersonic screams. Like, I'm not a huge fan of that. I never thought, like, that made any sense. And I think it just kind of, like, makes enemies annoying. It doesn't make them scary. It's just, I don't know. I think it's personally stupid, like those sonic attacks and stuff. But let's get on to the other stuff and take apart this actual picture, right? So it mentions a lot about their feeding habits and the hatching chambers, which we discussed in my other videos. So you'll be able to see all of that, as well as what the adult wild hunters will look like when they come to the surface. So be sure to check out those other videos. But let's get to it. So in the picture initially, like, this is pretty detailed, right? We get a nice definition on all their muscles and stuff. They're very lean. You can see they had like a lot of similarities to the worker, right? And we know that the worker was intentionally not completely developed from the newborns, right? Now let's take a look at this head right here. This head is crazy looking, right? You got those little hairs up top, those massive hairs. It's more like spikes, I would say. Man, those things look gross. Anybody with trypophobia is probably freaking out right now. You've got those two little nostrils. You can see that the skin is translucent. You can see the veins and the little like capillaries under that like translucent skin. Again, getting a ton of vibes from like the latest Aliens movie, Aliens Covenant, from the I think they called it, not the Deacon, the other one that was in the tall grass. I don't remember what it was called, but they do look a lot like that. Again, with just that tiny little mouth to show, and you can see that they've got these large teeth in that circular formation. They look a lot like something you would see in the mouth of a worm. I don't know how many of you guys have ever seen the mouth of a worm, but it looks a lot like this, right? And then they've got like another little tiny set of teeth in there that looks like the jaws of like a fish, some kind of fish that eats crustaceans. And then even further back, they've got another like top and bottom row of teeth. So they've got like 4 layers thick of teeth so far, so that's pretty gnarly, right? Looks like the mouth of a leech or a worm, like I said before. Definitely perfect for like sucking the blood out of their prey, which is crazy. Look like they have some nice developed nostrils that they can use to really take in those scents and kind of find that blood trail that they get fixated on once they get that first sniff, right? Again, it's bald. It does look more infantile than like the larger worker variant, but I mean, there's not too many different distinctions that make them unique other than the nostrils and the hair that stick out. And again, they lose that as they grow up, and the nostrils either develop into a nose or I believe somehow go away. I don't remember seeing a nose on the workers. I would have to go back and check that out. As for the rest of their body, look at this though. They are super lean. There's no fat on these things. Like, there's no fat at all. It is literally just muscle and bone and skin. And you can see right here, like, they are all muscle. Like, they look like they would be tough little sons of bitches, right? Let's take a look right here at the rest of the muscles before we talk about some of the other details they talk about, right? So they kind of twist and move around in a more, I want to say, definitely bug-like fashion. A lot of these muscles and stuff don't really look like they would be something you'd see on a human. I mean, I've seen people that are very lean before and their muscles nothing like that. This could maybe make them more flexible, more nimble, who knows, right? And you can see that this little guy is definitely hunched over, and you can see that their legs are to the side, as they further described, apparently to make it easier for them to move on all fours, which makes sense, right? And if we look at their feet, we can see they only have 3 digits on their feet, just like the workers. They only have 3 digits, but on the hands, they do definitely have 5. So no matter what transformation they go and no matter what role they fulfill within the colony, is what I'm going to call it from now on, is a colony, they will undergo some sort of metamorphosis up until that point. So let's take a look at the hands more closely in detail. They've got like these definitely lizard-like hands. When I see this, it reminds me very much so of like a small, like, just like lizard you would find walking around outside. If you ever picked them up as a kid, they look just like this, right? And they've got, it appears to be an extra joint that goes in the opposite direction. That's interesting, right? And, yeah, you could see their ligaments and stuff directly through this. You could see their skeleton, how tightly their skin is just stuck to that stuff. It's really wild looking. You got those spikes along their back as well. Yeah, they just look like these ripped little demons. Those 3 large claws that definitely would do a number on you. They don't really talk about how big they are, but judging from the size of the eggs in the previous photos, I can imagine that these guys are pretty damn large, at least probably like a meter tall, I would say. If they were to stand up, probably much taller than that. They are pretty developed for newborns. They look pretty formidable as you know, an enemy in game would be. And imagine walking into a hatching chamber and exploring one of these wild hunter, I guess, hives, and stumbling into a room with hundreds of these in it. That would be pretty damn intense, just jumping all over you, you know, like little frogs and trying to suck your blood and stuff, like little jumping spiders. That would definitely be a panic-inducing moment if you are not well enough armed or armored. But here you go. They do definitely use their hands fully. He's holding a big old hunk of meat right here, so he's eating good. Looks like a leg of some kind, and yeah, you can see he's eating that meat and sucking that blood, apparently. There's not really too much to dig apart from here. You don't really get a lot of a glimpse at the environment. You just see like a source of light towards the top center of the photo coming from behind the newborn, or maybe directly above. It's kind of hard to tell. And this guy's just like looking directly at you. You can see like a residual umbilical scar right there. But other than that, like, man, they do look very spider-like. But to me, they look more... if I were to see this first glance without them mentioning spiders, I would definitely think of it as more of a reptilian thing, more of like a worm-like thing. And yeah, just like a lizard. These little guys remind me of a lizard. And they do have a tail apparently, but we cannot see that tail visibly in this picture. It's not visible. If it is there, it's on the backside of the photo where we cannot actually get a look at it. So what do you guys think of this? I mean, what do you guys think of the whole telepathy thing? You know, these guys do look crazy. I do think I expected something a lot different. I did expect something that would be more human-like, especially if you look at the adult wild hunters. They are very human-like. They look like they're mutated. They look more orcish and stuff like that, if you get what I'm saying, like something out of Tolkien universe. But it's like, I don't know. The newborns and the workers lose me a tiny bit. The workers less, but definitely more so on the newborns, especially as they go into more of this supernatural kind of vibe with things. You know, I love the game, and I'm sure it's going to be great still. It's just like those nitpicks I have, right? So what do you guys think of these newborns? I think they're definitely creepy. I think they definitely look like they're going to be a pain in the ass, but I don't know. I like the idea of Wild Hunters and Scum, but I don't know if these match the Wild Hunters too much, right? I would have liked to see like a more, I don't know, I guess more helpless, but also very dangerous newborn. I think they could have done that a little bit better, because this is kind of just like I could see this as just like another adult variant, to be honest, right? They're not too much different, and if anything, like, the workers are a huge downgrade from the newborn. So just a few of those thoughts I have right here, right? And they were right about the bony skeleton and stuff like that, translucent skin. It does have like a creepy, you know, bug-like thing going on. I don't know, but it just, for some reason, these do not immediately jump out to me as being part of the Wild Hunters for one reason or another. I think it's still going to be great. I'm not one of those people that thinks they should be removed. I just think that in this early in development, they probably should make a few design changes just to better fit with an immersive and, you know, connected lore base that actually makes sense and feels like it could be believable, right? I think it's still going to be cool, and even if these are the final implementation of them in the game, I'll still love it. I'll still think it's awesome. And again, before people freak out, the Wild Hunters and things like it were part of Scum from the beginning. Early in development, they knew that they were going to have a more fleshed out universe. It's not just about a game show on an island. There's a greater world in the whole Scum universe, and this is part of the story behind that world, right? So definitely keep that in mind. So let's jump to the next part I have to show you. This is all I have for the newborns today, but he did drop something else last week I didn't cover, but I was super excited for. I know Raykit did a poll a long time ago, and one of the things I asked for was a 22 pistol, and I think he asked for the same thing as well. But here we have, right here, Thomas Lav on June 1st said wood, metal, or both. I would definitely say both. I'm a fan of both. I do think if they have a wood or metal one, there should be something different about the two. I mean, the cosmetic differences are cool and all, but they don't really add too much to the game, right? If I find an engraved 1911 versus like one of the regular ones or one of the red ones, it's like, okay, cool. You know, it's like, all right, well then. Anyways, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's cool, but I'd rather have more functional differences. Whether that be capacity or, you know, sights, just stuff like that, right? Or maybe even durability. That'd be cool. Oh, I just thought of that. Anyways, here we go. And this is very clearly this looks to me like a Ruger 2245, you know, like the Mark 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s. I don't know specifically because I know Browning makes a very similar pistol. I know a few other companies definitely jumped on the 2245 style platform, so I'll have to do some research into what this is. Maybe I'll make a game gun video on this as well. By the way, stay tuned. My first one's going to be coming out shortly. Long video, ton of research, ton of editing, so don't be too upset with me, even though I was talking about it a while ago. It will come out, right? But looking at this is awesome, right? This was the first gun I ever, actually no, this is the second gun I ever fired in my life. I started out with a Ruger 1022, and then the second pistol I ever fired was a Ruger 2245. And they are great fun, great practice for firearm safety and learning the fundamentals of shooting. They're just great. They're called a 2245 because they match like the 1911 pattern, right? So they're just really cool guns, man. And I think since we have 22s in game already, the rounds, why not have a pistol? We have the rifle, and having a semi-auto pistol in 22 would just be a game changer, especially for early game. And I can imagine they wouldn't be too common, but they would be common enough to where they would be, you know, seen around just like the Hunter 85, and I think that would be great. Excuse me. But anyways, yeah, I think the game has great pistols in it so far. I just think there does need to be a lot more variation in that. And having one of these silenced running around just popping zombies would be a great deal of fun for me. I would love it, right? And yeah, I don't know. Maybe this will be a game changer for those handgun skill specializations, or specializations that some of you might have, right? So anybody, tell me what your guys' thoughts are. Do you want to see more like this? What other guns would you like to see in the game? Let me know in the comments, and maybe I can get some polls going and try my hand at potentially talking to them. We'll see. Because I think, yeah, the handguns are getting more love for sure. But we need more than the M9 1911. And the Deagle's nice, but I don't know anybody that mains a Deagle in Scum. It's pretty underused due to a number of reasons. I would love to see more things, like maybe a gosh, it's hard to say, like a 40 caliber or a 10mm would be awesome. I would love to see either one of those in the game. Let's see if they ever bring that to the table. Anyway, super hyped about this. One of my favorite guns of all time. Seeing it in Scum is just another reason for me to play and pick it up. So I can't wait. Hopefully they're going to drop this along the other guns that they have been announcing in the past few months. And they said those would most likely come in 0.8. So let's see how that goes for us. The other thing we have that goes along with that is these pictures. They're not super high resolution, so I'm sorry about that, but this is just everything we have to go off. Just get a better look at it. You can clearly see that there's a threaded barrel at the front. You got these long, slender magazines that would go perfectly with it, and you can see the breech is open when that's pulled back. Definitely looking pretty damn good. And I can't tell if this is truly a 3D, if this is just like a render or if this is actually a 3D model. It's a bit difficult to tell from this photo. Either way, it doesn't seem like it's completely integrated in the game just yet. But considering how they added all the other weapons, I think this one will be great too. And that is the wood stock we see right here. And let's take a look at the synthetic stock, right? And then there's the black plastic polymer synthetic stock right here. Both of them look awesome. But I do think, like I said, there should be some functional variance in the different styles of these pistols. It would be cool if like the black one was threaded and the wood one was just like a classic one with the regular sights, you know, something like that, just to make it more useful to choose different ones. Then again, it's still not bad having different aesthetics, I guess. But being a survival game, it doesn't matter all that much, right? So, like I said, I'm super excited about this. Can't wait for this to be in game. Having 22s in Scum is going to be a game changer. And in other news from Scum, I know they have dropped a few updates, right? We got Trenchfoot, we got some quality of life additions to the game. We got our infections finally. And what do you guys think about all that? Personally, I've had some gripes with it. I find it a bit too easy to get infected. Like, I find it incredibly ridiculous how fast your clothes get dirty in Scum. I feel like you leave your house with perfectly clean clothes and they're already 100% dirty, and then you get infections like me. I think it needs to be rebalanced. I think Trenchfoot needs to be rebalanced, and how wet your shoes need to get rebalanced as well, because the fact that you can just get wet from being in the rain, completely soaked down to your socks, just doesn't sit well with me. I mean, I've been in pouring rain several times in my life, and I don't think I've ever really had soaking wet feet because of it. But I don't know, maybe I'm being too picky. I like it so that it's realistic but believable at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, gamers are like, oh yeah, it's gonna be realistic. You can get Trenchfoot now. But if you can get Trenchfoot in like 5 minutes, is that really realism at that point? And if your feet are soaking wet when you're wearing combat boots because it's drizzling outside, is that really realistic? I don't really know. It's kind of like a hard line to really distinguish whether it's beneficial or you know, detrimental to the gameplay. But other than that, please tell me how I'm doing in the comments, guys. I want to keep doing content like this. I want to make more videos. I want to do some more research, and I will be making more game gun videos. Tell me what you would like to see for those in the future. I will give you a little sneak peek. The first gun I'm going to be doing will be on the Hunter 85, and I'm super excited to get this series going, especially now more than ever, right? So be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I definitely take all the feedback to heart, and I try and implement all those changes into my future content, right? And again, I always say this, but I don't make money doing this. It's a hobby for me. I enjoy doing it, and I hope I can do it for the foreseeable future. And who knows, maybe even one day do it full time. We'll see. If you guys want to support me, no pressure whatsoever. I've been doing this without money up to this point. I can continue on doing that if I want. But if you do like what I'm doing, I have a Patreon and a Discord. You guys could join that, help support the community, help us get going so I can do bigger and better things with the channel and the larger community that I am aiming to go for in the future. Other than that, thank you guys all for the support. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate all of it, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.